Hello! Right then, this is kind of part 2 to the video I did on Friday, which was how you can save the NHS a load of money by looking after yourself. So that was based around, what was it? The NHS spent £10 billion per year on diabetes alone, on treating diabetes. And that's treating it as well. That's not trying to prevent it, that's just treating it. So the money that, I don't know what's spent on trying to prevent it, so that's even more. So, this is the thing. Anyway, this is kind of about that because you can catch it early, right? Obviously. So, kids are targeted with advertising and all that sort of stuff. I mainly talk to dads, some mums as well. So if you're concerned about how much sugar's in your kids' foods, you can watch. I would say watch the programme, definitely. It was on BBC. If not, listen to this, because they did a little thing. They sent some kids off around a supermarket to go and get whatever food they wanted without the parents. And cereals featured quite heavily. Basically, it was chocolate, fizzy drinks, cereals, and fruit, but no veg, right? So, and lots of branded stuff as well. Which kind of says something because, kids know what brands are already. They do the thing where they show the brand without anything else written on it or anything like that, and they know what it is. They just show a picture and they know what it is. Okay? So anyway, long story short and all of that, the kids come back, cereal. So they look at like a typical cereal, and it says, in a 30-gram serving, most of these cereals say in a 30-gram serving, and a lot of them were like 9-10% sugar. Okay, so a third sugar. So then they were looking at that. I'm not going to go into the traffic lights thing, which is was a big part of it. But regardless of that, if you just look at it, it says 10% of your daily allowance, which is 10 grams of sugar. That's what it says. Okay, and it's kind of like, okay, in a 30-gram serving. But then Hugh Fernie-Whittenstall turns to the parents and says, "But who's that for? 10% of whose daily allowance? An adult's daily allowance." So a kid, I think it was a kid under 7, that's half of their daily allowance, okay? So then he gives them some bowls and says, put how much cereal you'd have in them. I mean, he gives them big bowls, right? So I don't know if that's done on purpose, but they talk to the parents as well. The kids pour them out, they weigh them, they weigh how much they've poured out, and most of them are double, if not a bit more, okay? So that's kids having 100% of their daily allowance for breakfast of sugar, okay? Now, he asks the parents, says, is this typically what they'd have? And they say yes, So he obviously, like I say, he gives them big bowls, they stack it up, which kids are going to do, aren't they? The bigger the bowl you give them, the more they're going to put in it. There was an experiment done on this, which I'll go on to in a second. This was in a programme I saw years ago before I even started doing all of this sort of stuff, but I thought it was interesting. But anyway, the parents say that's typically how much they have. And the parents were all shocked, okay? Which I get, because you haven't got time to look at all this stuff, right? It's all there on the label, but you've got to kind of find it. It's all there on the front of the box as well. Whether it's traffic lighted or not, it's there on the front of the box and it does tell you. But obviously you're a parent, you're just going in, I'll have that and that. You probably go around on autopilot because the kids are running around and stuff like that. So you're just on an autopilot getting stuff. This is what you usually get. It all goes in the fridge at home, because obviously you'll do a weekly shop or whatever, and then that's just kind of how it is. And then you get on with your day because you're busy. So I get that. So obviously if it is blatantly on the front of the packet and it says, this is how much it is, this is what it is for a kid's daily allowance and all that, it'll be way easier, right? Anyway, so just keep that in mind. You can see what's on the front, especially with cereals. I mean, it seems like it's kind of obvious with everything, with fizzy drinks and with chocolate and all of that. But with cereals, people because they can say they're healthy on them as well, and they can still have loads of sugar in. Anyway, this experiment that was done on this program ages ago, it was years ago, and it was like this. I think these kids were away on a school trip, and what they did was they fed them some spaghetti bolognese or something like that. And they portioned it all out. The kids ate it, and at the end of it, are you satisfied? Yes, we are. Brilliant. Get on with it. And they all went off and played and all that sort of stuff. The next day, for lunch, they gave them the same thing, spaghetti bolognese. But they gave them double what they had. On the same plates, but they piled it. Gave them double. The kids ate a lot. All of it. And they said, how do you feel at the end? You satisfied? They said, yeah, we're satisfied. Probably a bit full. but they just ate it. But when they were eating half the amount, they were satisfied. When they were eating double the amount, they were feeling, but they just ate it. And they didn't even, kids do that, don't they? You put it in front of them, they'll just eat it. So, just something to think about. This is something which goes on, which I'm kind of, it concerned me. When I was watching this program, it concerned me, and I was talking to a teacher who I know, who said, they should show this in schools. They should show this in schools because kids will listen. Because parents do listen to this stuff. However, like I said, you're in the supermarket and you can't go around looking at everything. Go, right, what's in this? All right, okay. What's in this? Okay. If you've got time to do that, brilliant, do it. But if your kids are running around, you're not going to have time. So I get that. That's cool. So, but kids, if you get kids concerned about it, so if it's in schools and stuff like that, kids will be like, oh, well, yeah, they'll kind of listen to it if you make it fun and all of that. They did a campaign to eat vegetables where a kid holds 2 carrots like that, and then in the shadow in the background looks like Batman. And the kids loved that. And, there was photos of them all doing that with their carrots and everything. So they were starting to eat more vegetables, allegedly. But there you go. So I'm going to stop there, because I have got more to go on about this as well. There's one more thing which I want to talk about, which was a fella on there who... it was kind of a story where he said he was determined to get back in shape, but what he was doing didn't really suggest that. But then he did all right. But I'll talk about that at another time, possibly tomorrow. Anyway, just think about that. And if you get time, check it out. And if not, check it out on the front of the box, because it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. And then that comes to the thing. Well, what do you have other than cereal for breakfast? Obviously, for adults, it's simple. Just eat eggs for breakfast or something like that. Eat something, something that'll fill you up for longer. Because cereal will just leave you hungry again an hour later. So something that'll fill you up for longer. That's what I do, and that's what I've been doing for years. And it keeps me going for hours, and I love it. And I actually love eggs. So there you go. And they're really good for you anyway. So, but some people will say, oh, no, they're high in cholesterol and it'll kill you and all that. It's a load of rubbish. Anyway, that's for another time. So, crack on, whoever that was. Thanks for the like. If you like it, like it. If you love it, and all that caper. If you want to share this, share it with everyone. Because the more people who know about it, the better. Because we have an obesity crisis, which are 2 words that you don't want to go together. The 2 words that you don't really want separately either, but the 2 words that you definitely don't want to go together. So, talk to you soon.